Life is a journey full of challenges and uncertainties, where we continually seek motivation and guiding light. In these moments, the teachings of Jesus in the Scriptures become a lighthouse illuminating our souls, bringing peace and hope. The profound and meaningful words of Jesus in the Bible not only inspire faith and love, but also convey wisdom and strength to help us overcome every adversity. Today, let's explore the most meaningful quotes from Jesus. These sacred teachings will help us live a complete and meaningful life, full of blessings. Let's contemplate and apply His teachings in our daily lives by loving and forgiving one another, assisting those in need, and always maintaining faith in every circumstance. Together, let's spread the love and light of Jesus to the world. The Sermon on the Mount, the eternal teachings of Jesus. On a peaceful morning on a mountain in Galilee, Jesus sat down, and His disciples gathered around Him from above. He began to teach them with truthful and inspiring words. Jesus started with the Beatitudes, also known as the 8 blessings. He blessed those who are poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, and those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. These words serve as a guiding light, bringing hope and faith to those who are suffering. He continued by encouraging His disciples to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, to preserve the world from decay and to shine through good deeds. By living righteously and with faith, they would set a shining example for everyone around them. Jesus affirmed that He had not come to abolish the law or the prophets, but to fulfill them. He emphasized that the righteousness of His disciples must exceed that of the scribes and Pharisees. Then, He delved deeper into the laws, expanding them with higher moral standards. He taught that anger can lead to murder in the mind, adultery can occur even in thought, and loving one's enemies is of utmost importance. He instructed on how to perform acts of righteousness without boasting, such as charitable deeds, prayer, and fasting. Jesus introduced the Lord's Prayer, a simple yet comprehensive prayer that connects people with God. After presenting the Lord's Prayer, He emphasized the importance of forgiveness. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. He advised not to store up treasures on earth, where thieves can break in and steal, but to store up treasures in heaven, where nothing can destroy them. Jesus compared the eye to the lamp of the body. If the eye is healthy, the whole body will be full of light. But if the eye is unhealthy, the whole body will be full of darkness. He also taught that no one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. His disciples cannot serve both God and money. Jesus reminded them not to worry about daily life, as God will provide for those who seek His kingdom and His righteousness first. He taught not to judge others to avoid being judged in return, and encouraged self-examination before correcting others. He also encouraged prayer and trust that God will grant good things, teaching the golden rule. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. He spoke of the narrow gate that leads to life and warned about false prophets, who come in sheep's clothing, but are inwardly ravenous wolves. He taught that a good tree bears good fruit, and those who follow Him must listen and practice His teachings. Finally, Jesus concluded the sermon with the parable of the wise and foolish builders, encouraging everyone to hear and act on His words to build a solid foundation for their lives. The Sermon on the Mount by Jesus, with its truthful teachings and high spirit, remains a moral and spiritual foundation for those seeking guidance and light in their lives. The Sermon on the Mount focuses primarily on the following key elements. 1. The Beatitudes, Matthew 5:1-12. 2. Salt and light, Matthew 5:13-16. 3. The fulfillment of the law, Matthew 5:17-20. 4. Law and ethics, Matthew 5:21-48. Anger and murder, adultery and divorce, oaths, retaliation, love for enemies, giving. 5. Prayer and fasting, Matthew 6:1-18. 6. Treasures in heaven, Matthew 6:19-24. 7. Worrying, Matthew 6:25-34. 8. Judging others, Matthew 7:1-6. 9. Ask, seek, and knock, Matthew 7:7-12. 10. the narrow gate, and the good tree. Matthew 7:13-20. 11. The wise and foolish builders. Matthew 7:21-29. In addition to the main points mentioned above, the sermon also touches on several notable details and highlights. 1. Forgiveness. Matthew 6:14-15. After introducing the Lord's Prayer, Jesus emphasized the importance of forgiveness. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. 2. The light and the eye. Matthew 6:20-23. Jesus compared the eye to the lamp of the body. If the eye is healthy, the whole body will be full of light. But if the eye is unhealthy, the whole body will be full of darkness. 3. God and money. Matthew 6:24. Jesus taught that no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. His disciples cannot serve both God and money. 4. The paths and the narrow gate. Matthew 7:13-14. Jesus advised choosing the narrow path that leads to life, though few find it. 5. Warning about false prophets. Matthew 7:15-20. Jesus warned about false prophets, who come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. He said that they will be recognized by their fruits. Conclusion of the Sermon on the Mount. The Sermon on the Mount, recorded in Matthew 5-7, is not merely a collection of ethical teachings, but serves as a guiding compass for the moral and spiritual life of Christians. Through these teachings, Jesus conveys messages about good and evil, helping us recognize the righteous path to pursue. The good. 1. The Beatitudes. Jesus honors the poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, and those persecuted for righteousness. These qualities are noble values everyone should aspire to. 2. Salt and light. Disciples are encouraged to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, spreading God's love and light through their actions and way of life. 3. Love and forgiveness. Jesus emphasizes the importance of loving enemies and forgiving others, affirming that kindness and forgiveness are the foundation of a good life. 4. Prayer and the Lord's Prayer. Jesus introduces the Lord's Prayer, a model prayer, reminding us of our intimate relationship with God and the need to seek His will in our lives. 5. Treasures in heaven. He encourages storing treasures in heaven, sustainable spiritual and moral values, instead of perishable material wealth. 6. The Golden Rule. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. This fundamental ethical principle encourages kindness and fairness. The bad. 1. Anger and hatred. Jesus warns about the harm of anger and hatred, emphasizing that they can lead to severe consequences, such as murder in the heart. 2. Adultery and evil thoughts. He condemns adultery not just in action, but also in thought, affirming the importance of purity of heart. 3. Judging others. Jesus teaches not to judge others, as this can lead to hypocrisy and damage relationships. 4. Accumulating earthly wealth. He warns against accumulating material wealth, reminding that it is perishable and can lead us away from spiritual values. 5. False prophets. Jesus warns about false prophets, who use deceit to mislead others and harm the community. 6. Building on sand. He compares not practicing his teachings to building a house on sand, emphasizing the instability and danger of a life without a solid foundation. The Sermon on the Mount offers profound and meaningful teachings, helping us clearly distinguish between good and evil, thereby leading a strong moral and spiritual life. Through this sermon, Jesus calls us to pursue noble values, love, and forgiveness, and to build our lives on the firm foundation of faith and righteousness.